Dude, yellow looks so weird on me. Jeez. I wanted to do a series where I just talk about individual bands that are up and coming and that deserve some love and appreciation. Because there is a lot of bands out there right now currently, and I feel like it's harder to find good music and find bands that are trying to be something in this world because rock is not as mainstream as it once was in the 70s, 60s, 80s and 90s, 2000s, whatever. There's a bunch of different genres going on right now, and rock and alternative rock are phenomenal right now, if you ask me. So let's talk about the band, Julie. Julie is a three-piece rock band from Orange County, California. They have a sound that resonates with a bunch of 90s alternative rock loving mother effers, me being one of them. And honestly, this is a band that took me a while to fully open my arms and give a hug to, and I'll explain why. Now, this lame opinion kind of originated when I only listened to 90s grunge rock, which is so cringe looking back now. Not that it's a bad genre, but only listening to that must have been irritating, and it kind of was. So during this time period, I honestly didn't appreciate newer music. I was kind of closing that door. I was mainly just a old music type of listener guy, which is not always beneficial because you tune out all the newer generations and all that stuff, and it sounds so corny the more I'm talking and speaking. Literally 22 years old, like I'm acting like I'm 40 or something, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, at the time I was 20, but what difference does that really make? I don't think there is a difference. Anyways, after waking up from an old head coma, I completely been enthralled by this band and their musicianship and chemistry with one another. There's such a mixture with this band, and they have a lot of memorable guitar riffs like Sonic Youth type style. They have a Veruca Salt / lush vocal delivery when they're singing. Now, those aren't actual influences that I looked up. I actually don't know many influences of Julie, but this is what I hear with my ears and my instigation, if you will. So yeah, this is a hybrid of sound, and have a typical sound that I think anybody could listen to, which makes it easier for the mainstream. I don't think it's boring, to be honest. I think it's actually pretty good for what it is, and what it is beautiful riffs, beautiful vocals, chaotic moments, greatness. I gravitate towards their brain of the band, and what I mean by that is they keep trying to evolve from every project they release from 2020 up till now in 2023. A lot of bands seem to be stagnant and just stay where they believe their lane is. They don't try to bend stuff. They try to just stay the same, really, and keep a recipe that works, but it could get boring if you keep doing the same thing over and over. But that's not what Julie does, which I really appreciate. Whether it's guitar placement or vocal switching from one member to the other, there seems to be a lot of different ideas moving around in this band, and they listen to each other, which is a great thing. I have not seen this band live yet, and I usually stand back before I give an opinion, like an official opinion, which kind of sounds stupid, but this band, I don't care about that process in my brain. I kind of just hear a lot of great music coming from this band. I have seen a bunch of live clips online, whether it be sets or on their Instagram. They usually post some clips, not usually, just sometimes. And from what I hear, it honestly sounds like they're an even better band live, which is kind of crazy. And when I look at bands, there's a certain component when you're listening to them. You compare it to their live performances, and there can be a sort of gap in between, and they don't really go together. Sometimes being live, it's kind of terrible. Sometimes it's okay. It's a completely different world when you compare someone's songs from your headphones to listening to them live. And now, earlier I said how it took me a while to open my arms and fully accept this band for what it is, and they're a great band. Julie's really good. Another arrogant type of point of view I had was really, there's always a bunch of labels trying to throw bands in your face, and I thought this was one of those bands where I was like, it's just going to be one of those labels, old head people trying to understand the younger generation of what we want to hear, but not really, to be honest. I don't know if they have label help or whatever. I think they're signed. But after listening to Julie, I was completely wrong. They literally shoved it in my face and said, nope, you gotta listen to us because we're an actual band. We play music that we like and we think you'll like it. And yeah, I do like it a lot, actually. So yeah, Julie really gave me a different point of view when looking at these bands that come up out of nowhere. I kind of just listen to the bands now instead of giving an opinion based off of a picture I see. So instead of assuming these bands are terrible, I just listen, see if they're good. If they suck, then, I kind of keep it to myself. I don't really like blasting bands like that unless it's really in your face trying to make you accept them, when I'm just like, nah, bro, you're not like that. You're not like that. Now let's move on to the material they have. And I don't want to say I have a negative note about this band, but they don't have the craziest discography right now. Their first song came out in 2020, and they've only had like a couple of songs since then. They released a single in 2023 called Catalog, which rips. Looking at my notes, they only have 4 singles and 1 EP, but it's not about how much material you have, it's just about the quality, and they have an abundance of quality on their discography. You can see the growth, which I mentioned earlier, and I could appreciate, and I feel like other bands and people who listen to music should appreciate. Whenever they decide to release an album will be a great time, honestly, because I think it's long overdue, but you can't really rush a process. You can't rush an album, or else it's gonna sound like butt cheeks, and that's not really Julie's type of style, I feel like. So with that being said, here are my final notes on Julie. Julie is a great modern day band from the 2020s. Julie is one of the bands on the forefront of this alternative indie rock surge within the younger generation. They are talented individuals with creative juices flowing through their brains onto songs, into our ears. Check them out if you haven't. And that's all I got, man. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. I appreciate you for spending time out of your day with me. Jeez, man. Go do something else. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Goodbye.